You are listening to Vitality with Marilyne, a podcast about health, wellness, and all things vitality. Having set herself free from life routines, embraced a healthy lifestyle, and lost an incredible 90 pounds in under a year, Marilyne is now supporting others looking to live their best life. Here to tell her transformative story and engage in enlightening and inspirational conversations, here she is, Marilyne.
Welcome back to Vitality with Marilyne. One of my favorite parts of my story to date is how I've progressed towards my fitness goals and learned to love to exercise. So I'm very excited today to be talking about this. The benefits have been significant and exercise feels really, really good now. So I'm just so glad that I introduced it in my life and I plan on continuing. So our bodies are amazing. What we can do far exceeds what I thought I could do in the amount of time that I did. We're capable of so much more than I feel we are, that we think we are. I see exercising as a privilege, and I intend on exploring a lot more of that aspect in the fitness in the years to come. So just to bring back a little bit of context. So at the very beginning, I've mentioned this before, I focused my first month on mainly nutrition. Just to get that piece right, because it is complex and it is, I feel, the priority and then the fundamentals. But while I was doing that, simple walking was what I was doing. And I continued to do walking and got a little bit more into jogging and running. And about a month into that, I felt ready to do more exercise and to get more into it. So I started looking at options and decided to start working out with a personal trainer. So that was that was in July 2021. I had also started building, it was a bit of a process to get my home gym built. I had some kind of room in the basement that was very unfinished and we were getting that finished. So it was a good time for me to start looking at that. So my personal training sessions have contributed tremendously to my fitness progress to date, and it's helped me recover from some injuries as well. So I'm getting so much more than I thought was possible from personal training. So I'm very pleased about my fitness progress to date. So just a little bit of background of why I chose to work with an in-home personal trainer. So the first reason was accountability. I was very much into my work. I work from home. So that was a big bonus in terms of doing workouts from home. So I wouldn't leave my desk. I would go meetings for meetings and often forget to eat. So fitting in exercise was going to be hard to change that habit because a lot of healthy lifestyle, it is a lot about changing habits. But having someone come into my home and show up definitely made it that I was going to follow through on that. So works out pretty good. Most of the days are during my lunch hour. So that was big on the accountability front. Efficiency. So when I decided to do this, I was all in and ready to tackle it and wanted to see progress. So I wanted to be efficient, and there's a lot of, just like nutrition, there's so much out there in terms of exercise. There's so much you can do, but I wanted to do it efficiently. So get towards my goals as quickly as possible and in safest manner as possible. Didn't have a whole lot of time to plan out what exercise I should do, or didn't really want that to be the focus because food was still and continues to be a lot of time to plan and to make to be very conscious of what you eat. So efficiency was important. Injury prevention, definitely. And at that point, before I started working with the personal trainer, I knew I had some injuries. So issues with my neck. I had migraines at the very beginning that I was trying to work through, which came from tension in my neck. But I didn't also know how bad it was. So injury prevention was one of the reasons. And also getting help on how to work around the injuries. location was working from home. I've always been way more comfortable working out in my home than in a gym. Also, it was COVID, things were reopening in terms of gyms and stuff, but it never really appealed to me, even pre-COVID, to go out and work out in the gym. It's a lot more comfortable for me. And I like the one-on-one approach. It wasn't the first time I was doing personal training. I was thinking back, I think I've had 3 different personal trainers over the years, and I've always enjoyed like the one-on-one approach. And so why I'm continuing now is a little bit along the same lines, but the main thing is progress. So I've seen so much progress, and having somebody plan out the exercises and kind of give me that extra push, because we're always fighting our brains, right? Like the whole, okay, you've done enough, this is hard, stop. It definitely helps to have somebody nudge you and say, no, you got more in there, or so on. Injury prevention is still very much part of my thinking. I am now very happy to not be living with migraines, and the pain in my neck is quite manageable and so on. So going back to that is a bit of a scary thought. So wanting to avoid injuries and still working around some old injuries that I would find challenging on my own. Accountability is still a reason. My priorities and my motivation has completely shifted since I started. So it's not the same, because before, if I didn't have a personal training session, I wasn't going to work out. So it was all or nothing. Now I will do it just much later in the day. I'm definitely a procrastinator, and the thing is, doing it later in the day, it's still great. Like I do my runs and so on and later, but you don't experience the benefits as much throughout the day as I do doing it during my lunch hours. So still benefit from that, and the consistency is also part of that. So that's why I keep working with a personal trainer. The frequency, just to give you a bit of context on that front, is so we'll get into what's recommended soon, but so my goal initially was to do it 2 to 3 times a week. So initially started for a short time, twice a week, but quickly added the 3rd day. When I realized how bad of a shape my neck and back were, and again, like the injuries I was always scared of making it worse, because that would trigger migraines, and it's just it just affects my life quite a bit. So with that in mind, I added the 3rd day, and then about a month or so, I started noticing how much of an impact working out during lunch hour had on my work. So I found myself a lot more relaxed and a lot happier and a lot more productive after doing a workout. So then I even added a 4th day. So is it necessary? I love it. I would do it 6 days a week if I could afford it. And but that's why I do it so much. And the ongoing, like, we're reviewing how many times a week is actually necessary, but that's been the frequency. So I've talked enough. So today I am fortunate to be joined by Kyle, who's been my personal trainer since I started in July. Just a little bit about Kyle. He's a registered kinesiologist with the College of Kinesiology. It's a hard word for me to say, so if I butchered it, sorry. And is also a fitness trainer with a company that offers home personal training services called Fitness for Freedom. So I went on the website, and I don't know if last time when we talked about this, this is a little blurb, and I feel like it's just so fitting. It's just something that you'd say. So Kyle wrote, I got into this field because of the incredible potential of exercise to enrich the lives of each and every one of us. Through careful consideration of your individual needs and goals, I aim to provide a supportive and yet challenging environment to help you realize your full potential, both physically and mentally. And I think that fits perfectly. So, warm welcome to Kyle, and I will. Hi. I will first just ask you to explain what kinesiology is, or what does a kinesiologist do, and just explain a little bit about what you do.
Okay. So thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. So a kinesiologist is somebody who has studied and works in a variety of different areas in health. So anatomy, physiology, exercise physiology in particular, biomechanics, epidemiology. It's really a very broad field. And I'm working in the fitness field, so there is a very large fitness component to that. So yeah, kinesiologists are working anywhere from, like I said, the fitness field to clinical settings, physiotherapy clinics, stuff like that. And I guess a good descriptor of what a kinesiologist could help with in your health, other than helping you reach your fitness goals, would be helping you identify imbalances, muscular imbalances or dysfunction, and help you kind of break through those and train effectively and safely. So
Yeah, well, when I was looking for personal trainer, just like to be completely honest, like I did a search to find in-home personal training in Ottawa, and didn't really pay attention to like the credentials, kinesiology. But I am so glad that I got to work with you, because like at the onset, that's when you're like, something's wrong with your neck. Like I knew, but I didn't know to what point. So that was helpful. And I feel compared to other personal training, definitely has been a lot more work around or preventative. And like, it just seemed a lot more intentional about the injuries and all the intricacies that I won't pretend that I understand, but you seem to know what you're talking about.
yes, well, I give you a lot of credit for maybe I helped you kind of come to that conclusion, but you actually taking the action to do something about it, because I can't tell you the amount of people that I say, like, listen, our training is stagnant because you have these issues, these dysfunctions, and they listen to what I say, and then they don't follow up with another professional that can help them, right? I know my limits in terms of what I'm qualified to do, and it's important for me to kind of make those referrals, and hopefully my clients will follow through on that. So
yeah, and shortly after we started, because it was the first week of August, so I started seeing chiropractor, physiotherapist, as well, massage therapy. But it definitely helped kind of trigger that, you should go seek some more help. Like, and
all you were doing like 8 appointments a week for a bit there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Nice to have weaned off of that,
a little
I'm
bit.
Sure, yeah.
A little bit. But hey, like the migraine headaches are not
that's
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what is it? Just want to explain a little bit of what you do in terms of in personal training.
I mean, there's a lot, like you've already touched on some of the things that are beneficial about having a personal trainer. Accountability, honestly, is number one. Like, I don't want to sell myself short on anything, but the most important thing for both of us in the relationship is to show up.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, having that accountability from another person that is going to show up, that's the first thing, right? Like you said, most people know they're not going to exercise on their own. They can, justify it any which way. I'll do it tomorrow. but having someone show up, super important. Secondly, I'd say, what would be the right word other than, I guess I'll just say form. So like coaching, form, expertise in that sense, right? Helping you make sure you're moving properly, doing the exercises properly, getting the most out of it. So not only like when it comes to form, of course, you're going to think about injury prevention and not hurting yourself when you're exercising, but also just getting the right muscle activation is super important. So like, as you know, like cueing during exercise goes a long way, and not everybody, you know, has the experience to like keep themselves in check during a workout and and like, you know, cue themselves to be right, like squeezing the right muscles during the movement and keeping the body in the right position just to get the best benefit out of any given exercise. Here's where I could just start rambling probably. I'll try to stay on topic. Yeah. So accountability, like a trainer will help provide accountability, you know, correct exercise form, motivation, confidence. Confidence is a big thing. So so many people don't exercise. Like, well, first of all, maybe like you mentioned, like the gym's not for everybody. So in-home personal training is like, you know, you're in your the comfort of your own home, the convenience of your own home. You know, no eyes on you, nobody to compare yourself to. You know, nobody that you're looking like distracting you, right? Like focused, you're in your own gym, one-on-one. And like that, I mean, yeah, and so many people are just like intimidated by exercise and think they don't know what to do. And maybe they don't at the beginning, but like I really like that part of my job, like helping instill confidence in people that, as you touched on before, like their abilities are greater than they might perceive, you know?
Well, and confidence with exercise is so hard because once you get good at it, you need to push yourself out of that. So you never, like, in order to progress, you're ideally never comfortable. So never like,
that is, I mean, yes, that is kind of the idea behind progress, right?
Yeah.
You're always overloading. Like that's the basic principle to, you know, getting stronger, building muscle is the overload principle. You always need to be progressing. So like, you know, I work with people on like kind of a Kickstarter basis as well, which can be helpful if you already have like a good background in exercise, but you don't know where to start. But to your point, like, yeah, as you know, in an ongoing role, nobody's going to just stay at the same spot. So like, it's my job to recognize when it's time to kind of increase load or just, you know, to advance to something else.
Yeah, and I mean, to the confidence piece.
Safely, you know.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
no,
that's all right.
The
Just wanted to throw that in there.
Because it's an interesting thing because like I don't know, because we've talked about confidence before. And it's like, I don't know if I'll ever feel confident enough to say like, oh yeah, I can do more. Like, it's just so against the grain to say, okay, now I'm confident, I can go up, or I can do this more. Like, it's just it's such a hard thing to do when you're not feeling good at it. It's like, it's just the way confidence works is you feel good about, or you're confident when you're good at something. But if you're never good at it because you're always constantly trying to progress, then it's definitely helpful to have somebody telling you you're doing all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, we've been, what has it been since July? 9 months? So we've been working together 9 months. And even if you don't feel more confident, you're 100%, like, well, not 100%. I'm not going to put a number on it, but you're much more capable and like understanding of movement than you were, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've gained confidence, for sure.
Yeah. I always have to keep telling you. So there's the confidence factor. Gotta always instill confidence.
Yeah. And posture.
we got to be very, very aware of our posture here as we speak of it.
We should bring back posture in a bit. So yeah, I'm sure there's many more benefits that we could dive into, but I'll move on to weight management or weight loss. People that, like, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that struggle with that, as did I. And I'm sure you have a lot of clients that have challenges or have had challenges over the years. So what is your approach working with them in terms of weight loss exercise? Because when we think about losing weight, it's usually like, okay, there's fix your food and do more workouts. They're interconnected, but not necessarily dependent on each other. So
yeah. So whenever I do an assessment and we sit down and we talk first before any sort of physical assessment. And yes, weight loss is often mentioned in a new client's goals. And so first thing I like to talk about with weight loss is nutrition. So just, if you don't know, nutrition is going to be the most important aspect of your weight loss. And I just like to get a grasp of like what people's understanding is of nutrition, because some people just don't have a very good concept of, what's healthy and what's not healthy, like how many calories are in this versus how many calories does this hard workout use up. So yeah, nutrition has to be on point. So I'll always ask about their nutrition, and we'll go through it. Some people like yourself, like we end up talking about nutrition quite often, but you already had that, which is awesome, right? So yeah, I'm like, while I'm not a nutritionist, I definitely will consult on nutrition and kind of go from there as an ongoing thing. So we can touch more on nutrition if you want. I know that you've had a nutritionist on, where I'm sure you guys spoke a lot about nutrition.
Yeah, it's more about the lines of like somebody who wants to lose weight, and that's their goal. They come to you and say, okay, I want to do personal training because I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned that you're gonna talk about nutrition because if they don't understand that it's there's statistics out there, 80%, 90% part of it is nutrition.
Yeah.
But I think also like nutrition will impact their ability to do certain exercise, so timing and stuff.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the program, are you going to approach the program differently because it's weight loss goals?
Yes and no. So like what I was going to touch on after that is, so either way, like if you have a weight loss goal, okay, nutrition is going to be important. And putting on muscle mass is going to be important. Okay, so yes, I'll approach things maybe a little bit differently. Maybe throw in some more high intensity exercise. Okay. But honestly, I do not. I'll be quite honest. I do not take like a hugely different approach, because whether you come to me and you say, I want to build muscle, get toned, lose weight, you're saying the same thing, whether you know it or not, right? So you're going to build, like, step one is, you got to get your nutrition under control to some extent. And then you've got to build muscle. Muscle increases your metabolism and will help you burn off that fat more. So yeah. There's not a hugely different approach in general. When it comes to, because if I read between the lines with any client, well, most clients that I'm starting out with, whether they say it or not, like toning is something it's kind of a weird word, because I think people don't understand even what they mean when they say it. So like, toning, in essence, is losing fat and building muscle. So when someone says, "Oh, I don't want to put on muscle, I just want to get toned," it's like, well, that you're trying to get muscle tone. That's the literal definition of it.
And speaking about like more like of the weight loss, and we've had these conversations before, like it can seem like personal training can seem intimidating, especially when a person's confidence in terms of overall health and fitness is pretty low. And I feel like you have a natural ability to make people feel comfortable, at least for me. So what do you do to make people feel comfortable so that they can progress and get over that hump and start moving towards their goals as opposed to getting kind of stuck in their head?
Well, thank you for the compliment. My wife would say the same thing. I don't know what it is. Like, I enjoy, like back to confidence, like making people feel comfortable, making people feel confident. And like, that's going to go a long way to continue our relationship. I don't know what I do. What do I do to make you feel comfortable? I don't know.
It was easy. Well, there was one thing you did very early on. I was discouraged, and I don't remember. I think when we were kind of hitting like walls with different exercise because I had a hard time going overhead because of my neck. I was discouraged, and I don't know. And you kind of sat down and you're like, I get it. I've struggled with it too, with weight and stuff. And that meant a lot. That helped. But it's just your way of not being judgy.
I guess that makes me think of something like being relatable is important, right? Like there definitely is like an idea of what a personal trainer should be. And I don't think that I really am that person, right? Like there's an idea that like a personal trainer, has to be like kind of the pinnacle of like exercise and like muscle definition and health and nutrition. But like, I don't know, life in my opinion and philosophy is like all about balance. And I think, depending on your goals, some people are just kind of able to just kind of go all at it. And like, you've been incredibly disciplined, probably like the most disciplined person I've worked with in 7 years. But I don't know. I think I'm relatable. Like you said, we've all had like shared experiences, no matter what it is. Like, I've injured myself training countless times, and it can be super deflating and feel like, okay, like now, like my progress is hindered. I got to stop working out. There's always something you can do to keep training around that injury. So yeah, I think like to that point, there are trainers that are really kind of strict, really kind of cold, but probably produce results, right? So like when you're working with a trainer, it's important to get like, unless you're just looking to get your butt kicked and you're okay with that and they don't smile at you and they don't, then, that's a certain personality that can mesh well with that. So I think it's just important to find someone that you're compatible with, that understands your needs, that can like kind of fill you out when you need to be pushed more, when you've kind of had enough, when you might be like pushing through an injury but not saying anything about it. Like there's a lot of kind of like silent
you're very
silent factors to read, right?
Yeah, you're very in tune with all the twitches and the face.
The twitches.
The facial expression.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Facial expressions go a long way.
If we continue on that, because you've mentioned about finding personal trainers that you're compatible, any kind of other characteristics, any tricks for that, for people to kind of, when they're looking for a personal trainer?
I have never had a personal trainer, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll get, like I said, I think just initial meeting, you'll get a good sense of whether you're going to be compatible with the person. I don't know if there's a whole lot of advice I could ask. I think you should, ask them questions for sure. Like I think like first meeting, I've had someone sit me down before. Actually, this was just like a consult, no assessment or anything. So I go into new people's homes all the time. So I go into someone's home, and they basically interviewed me. They're like, all right, sell yourself to us. I was like,
Great.
and that was very early on. That was like maybe I'd been doing it for like a year and a half, and so yeah, I just think like ultimately when you're looking for a personal trainer, you're the one paying the money. You're the one, who should be really calling the shots. I'm going to give you guidance, but it's your health. And I mean, you should feel free. Like you should feel comfortable with the person. You should feel that you get a vibe that they're going to be helpful, that they have the right experience. Like there's like with training, there's all sorts of different philosophies and different ways different trainers work. So yeah, just kind of, make sure it's going to be a good relationship, and you'll probably be able to tell either upon meeting the person during an assessment or even, the first few sessions, whether it's going to be a good fit or not.
Yeah, it's funny when you mentioned like the typical trainer and like what I was looking for initially. I didn't really, I just knew I had like, like I woke up and I'm like, okay, I need to get healthy. I need to do this. And I need to be pushed. And I wanted to try, at all my other personal trainers have been females. And I'm like, you know what? I want somebody who's going to be tough. Who's not going to be like, oh, well, you got a lot going on. You're a working mom. And yada yada. So I just like no excuses. Somebody who's gonna. I don't remember our first meeting. It was like
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah, you're like, you want me to be mean to you, and I'm like, well, tough.
I can be tough, but I'm not mean.
No. Well, and I didn't like I do agree that finding the right personal trainer is important, especially in your home. Well, anything, but in your home, it gets to be a little bit even more intimate.
Yeah.
And it is a vulnerable space to be, especially at the beginning when you really don't feel great, or at different stages you don't feel great. It doesn't feel great, like regressing, what feels like regressing, but you're like, anyways. So there's just and it's been really great. Like I feel very fortunate that I got a sign, and I didn't really spend a whole lot of time other than saying, well, maybe a male wouldn't be able to say, oh, well, I get it. I have kids. Like, I'm a mom too. But yeah, it was easy, and it was, you're right, within a few sessions, and it was quick to build the trust, because the trust is important, especially when you have worries about injuries and so on.
Yeah. I just want to make a point, like you said there, you want someone to be hard on you because you will say, I'm a busy mother, and like people always have excuses, but like compassion and accountability are not mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? Like,
agreed. Yeah.
Like I can be stern and hold someone accountable, or have them hold themselves accountable, while also being compassionate about, the things that go on in people's lives. Like, things are complicated, and not everything's not always going to be perfect, and you gotta kind of roll with the punches.
Yeah, definitely appreciated that several times.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I've talked about how often I have personal training sessions, what do you suggest, or what do you recommend for how many times a week a person should exercise with or without personal training? And then what is the most successful kind of relationships in terms of personal training for frequency?
Okay. So there's no exact answer to that. So I'll try my best to kind of address that. So For the average person, I would recommend trying to be active every day, no matter what that is. Typically 2 to 3 days a week of strength training, I think, is a good recommendation for mostly everybody, no matter what your age. Some people will depends what your goals are. Obviously, the more you train, more than likely the better the results you're going to get. But not everybody has the time or willingness to train 6 days a week in strength training. So yeah, kind of that 2 to 3 days per week of strength training is what I would recommend to most people. Now, how that looks in terms of training sessions with me is always different. For instance, like I come to your house 4 days a week, so we do 4 days of training. You're always doing something. I always know you're doing something good on your own. So again, you're a very, very easy client in the sense that, I know you're keeping up with it, and I don't have to kind of keep on you or feel discouraged myself that I'm wasting my time, because I'm not. Goes without saying.
Makes up for the other pain in the...
Yeah, so, I work with a lot of people. I'd say the average I work with people is 2 days a week. I'm always willing and able to give them exercises, workouts, programs to do on their own. So that's very common. So, yeah, I usually see people about 2 days a week. But again, there's all sorts of different combinations. I've worked with people I see once a month, once every few months, where I just give them a program to work on, and people. Some people are a little bit more kind of self-guided, self-directed, and self-motivated. So,
but those programs are pretty cool too. Like the ones with the app, because I think that's something that sets your company apart.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about that, because there's the option of having the program and then you checking in and then updating it and following it along with the app.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about the app?
You can.
We have an app. We have an app in development, which is not unlike other apps per se.
It's the best
fitness
app.
apps. It is better than most, but not unlike. So yeah, it allows me as a trainer to either just like fully program for my clients remotely, or as like a supplement to what we're already doing. If you like, the biggest, other than motivation, I'd say the biggest kind of factor that leads people to not exercise on their own is that lack of confidence in knowing what they're doing.
The planning.
Yeah. Whether real or not. But
back to that.
So yeah, the app just allows, so it basically is a database of like exercises with videos. So that video, in my absence, it shows you exactly how to do it. I can put in notes for each exercise that I know kind of you'll need as a cue or to help explain the exercise. I can check in to see if you've done it and just kind of modify it at any time. Yeah. So I do, yeah.
It is pretty neat. Like my mother, who's
Yes.
72, she sees you once a week, and then has a program running, and then different day has different program assigned, and she loves it. And like, because you see her regularly anyways, and then you kind of up this, and I think it's great. It's very cost effective too. Just kind of bring it back to just like goals, because I'm assuming, like, I know we went into like how frequent and so on, and I think that loops back into goals. What are your kind of or advice, or when people are setting their fitness goals for it to be realistic and achievable when trying to, especially for weight loss purposes, because at first, it's kind of daunting to figure out your goals.
Yeah, well, you just kind of said two of the important things. I don't know if you've been reading up on goal setting, but like...
Well, I mean,
this
the
is
SMART
gonna
goals
this is gonna challenge my
are applicable to a lot of
Yeah,
things.
exactly. Smart. That is gonna make me think back to
we use
to
those in HR as
university
well.
Studies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it? It's measure. What's the S?
Oh God.
So S, then measurable, attainable,
Smart.
realistic,
Small.
and I don't know that it's small.
Timeliness
Timely
is the T.
Timeliness? Is it?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Look it up. That's the S.
We'll just say it is.
Yeah, and I'm all like,
Maybe
yes, I guess
maybe
so.
someone can look that up.
Someone.
So to your question, in terms of setting goals, yeah, I think, like you said, I think, realistic and attainable is important because you want to maintain motivation to reach those goals, right?
Well, and because it could go two ways. Either people set goals that are like unachievable and they want to be like in 2 months I'm going to be fit.
Yeah.
Or it's too small that you're like, well, no, you can do more than this, or here's what we can do. And it's so dependent on so many things, but it is important to be working towards a goal.
Yeah.
So that you can show progress.
Yeah, I think the best goals are maybe, how do I say this? Are set kind of with overall health in mind. I was going somewhere with this, but I think I'm just
Do we know what
to
a
cut
yes
that.
is?
Cut that.
S is specific.
Specific. There you go.
Yeah.
And T is time bound.
Time, so
Yeah.
you were right about that, basically. I don't remember the word time bound, but okay.
Well, I'm sure there's different variations.
Specific, yeah.
Specific.
Measurable, attainable, realistic. So goals. I think when people are setting their goals, like, they need to be realistic, and kind of, I can kind of help guide in that manner, right? If somebody says, I want to lose 20 pounds this month, I'm probably going to say that's not going to be healthy if you do it, and it's going to be incredibly hard to maintain or to like attain and then maintain. So they've got to be realistic.
Good.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
I know.
I'm just trying,
but it's just such a vague
trying to
concept.
blank
I
on-
know. And I guess what I was trying to get at with this is, like, how do you guide people to say, okay, well, this is what you can expect to achieve with a fitness program, if you're if you're dedicating X amount of days, or in order to put things in context for them. So obviously consistency.
Yeah. So consistency, like, I can only take part of the accountability, take charge of the accountability factor to some extent. You need to be accountable to yourself. If someone sets a goal of weight loss, or, measurable goals are good as well. And I'm not just talking about like a certain amount of weight. I'm talking about, like, I want to be able to do a push-up. I want to be able to do 20 push-ups. I want to be able to do a pull-up, because that's measurable. You see that, what the goal is, you achieve the goal measurably, and that just kind of builds your confidence, right?
Yeah.
Ask me the question again, because that's not even what I was going to say. I had something else to.
About what's your advice on setting realistic fitness goals?
Yeah, so I think people need to know that I am not like a magic man. I can help you, but you have to help yourself.
I don't know.
Like, you have to be the one. Like, that's why you always want me to take a lot of credit for your success and the changes you've made.
Some.
But ultimately it comes back to you, because you are the one who put in the effort and like took charge. And like I've worked as a personal trainer for 7 years, and I can say without a doubt, 2 hours, like, if you see me twice a week, or even if you see me four times a week, that's 2 to 4 hours a week that I really have any control over you. So I don't know how many other hours are
Come on.
how many hours are in a week?
That-
24 times 7, 148. 148. I think I got it.
168.
168.
168.
Damn it. So that's 2 to 4 hours out of 168 hours in a week. We're just not, realistically, that's not what's gonna help you reach your goals. Like, that's going to help you reach your goals, but that's not how you're going to reach your goals. It's the other time on your own that really, like, I can't follow you around and tell you what not to eat. I can't follow you around and make you work out. And so, like, everybody who has success working for me, they have to have some degree of intrinsic motivation and to, like, put in that effort. And I can say that without a doubt that, there are people I work with that I know are not putting in that time. And like that's still, there's still benefit in that, right? Me coming over and making you work out twice a week, even if you might not even have a goal, you just feel good that you're doing that exercise, and 100% that is better than not doing anything. But to really kind of reach your goals, I will help you provide the blueprint, but it's your hard work that eventually that will create that change.
Okay. And you've talked about, we've talked about weight loss, but what are the other benefits of exercising?
So one particular area of interest for me is I like helping people work towards, losing weight, building muscle, stuff like that. But I really think, especially in, like, this day and age where we're very sedentary, like, it's not only that we're out of shape, we're, like, our muscles are out of balance. Mm-hmm. So, kind of identifying what, like, and a lot of people are completely unaware of their posture or weaknesses. So just kind of helping people identify those imbalances so their body just works better, moves better, feels better. Make sure people are moving properly, sitting properly, like sitting down, standing up, picking things up, just like the tasks of daily life can be so, like, the longer we do something incorrectly, the more that sets in, right? So just kind of helping people just move in the right direction. So yeah, to your question, there's the kind of, the weight loss aspect, the appearance aspect, right? Like, personal training often gets linked with, like, appearance goals. And those are always going to have, like, residual health effects, right? But just helping people, feel better, feel stronger. Like, you're really big on just, like, the endorphin effect of exercise. And, like, if you do, I'm sure, like, we've all anyone who's ever exercised or, like, tried to consistently exercise, you always feel better after exercising. You always feel like crap
during
no, I'm not even saying during your workout. Like, some workouts, you probably feel better than others, right? It's not like every day you're like on point, just, like, feeling it, but just that kind of, like, confidence in knowing, like, I just did some good. Like, there's so much mental benefit to exercise, both physiologically and just like just frame of mind, kind of like psychologically.
Yeah, it's definitely good on the mental health.
Yeah, so I really like helping people with posture, because there's not a single person, including myself, sit up straight, shoulders back. There's not a single person that I meet, like, a new client, because that's the first thing in the physical assessment. I do, like, a visual inspection of posture, and there's always some postural noticeable postural imbalance, whether it's forward head or, immediately rotated shoulders, because we're doing everything in front of us. So got to, we must keep awareness of our posture.
Yeah, I've never been so more aware of posture, because a lot of the ergonomics issues that we have, and I've found out my neck and back and shoulders issues was very much linked to posture as well, and it can do some really bad things. So I do appreciate being called on my posture.
Yeah. Well, that's again, to your question about other benefits, helping with chronic pain. So like I was talking about imbalances, there's a lot of super common imbalances, mainly related to sitting, among other things. Like every daily activity we do subconsciously will be either one-sided or just lazy, like sitting, right? So everyone's heard the statement sitting is the new smoking.
Oh, really?
You haven't heard that before? So it's I mean, I definitely think that's a bit of a shocking statement, because I don't think sitting is quite as bad as smoking, but we'd have to look at the data to see, time will tell. But we certainly sit way too much, and what happens when you're sitting, simplified at the hips, your glutes are becoming inhibited and stretched, because you're sitting in hip flexion, and then your hip flexors are getting tight. Tight hip flexors, weak glutes are a recipe for back pain. Just if your glutes aren't working to stabilize your hip, it's gonna, like I said, back pain, but also down the other way, different knee, ankle injuries. The interconnectedness of it all should not be understated.
Definitely learn that strong butt goes a long way.
Glutes. I say glutes at least 35 times a day.
Yeah. It makes me cringe because of this whole gluten intolerance.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you say
So
glutes,
it's too close to gluten.
And my phone keeps auto-correcting it to gluten. And it's guys,
mine often auto-corrects to flutes.
Thank you for tuning in to Vitality with Marilyne. Don't forget to join us on social, get involved in our communities, reach out if you have a powerful story to share, or send us a question you'd like answered. Take care for now, and don't forget to choose active, happy, and free.